So you just have to know who you are, and understanding yourself is probably the secret to life. Really knowing yourself. Knowing you means you know God.
Well, today on Do Hard Stuff, we're joined by Pat Bauer, President, CEO of Heartland Dental, the largest dental support organization in the country. Pat has been a part of Heartland since 1997, helping scale the company from a small operation to a nationwide operation supporting thousands of doctors and practices. Widely respected for his leadership on culture and the belief that kindness, accountability, and constant improvement can coexist at a high level. I'm really excited to be here. I've known Pat for a number of years, and thanks for taking time. I know you're super busy, and I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. It's always an honor to speak to you, and it's we're just lucky to be here. That's
right. At my age, I just every day I wake up like I'm blessed. Lord, thank you. I got another day to go.
One of our vice presidents, our senior vice president of operations in the hospital right now, so I'm praying for her. She had a heart attack last night, so it's scary, and keep on waiting for some updates. So hopefully, I hear something positive soon. So,
a woman? Did you say a woman with a heart attack? Wow. What's her first name? I'm happy to add to the prayer. Stephanie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful person, wonderful operator, fantastic. She's been with us since probably 2005.
Wow.
So she's been with us for 21 years.
Yeah. And that really ties and we may venture off script here because it really ties into what we talk about. It's we think that workload is hard, right? Like, I've got so much I got to do today. I got to go to this. I know next week I got to be in 3 different places, and then I got some international. I'm always like feeling sorry for myself sometimes, but that's not very hard stuff, right?
Not compared to life. No, it's not.
It's not. You're right, and I think that it goes to show you where we can put our focus and how we can do that. Well, definitely going to keep her on there as list. Well, as you've scaled Heartland, what was one season you went through where it was just really tough, and how did you get through that?
Well, I've had lots of them. When we first started in 1998, it was a tough year. We weren't making money. COVID. There's just so many that you think about, but you have a faith in God, you have a faith, you're basically God, family, and then work. And so I have this belief that there's 100 problems a day. I'm going to have 100 problems a day for the rest of my life, even when I'm 90 or 95 and when I was 5. And you just have to deal one problem at a time. And you can't, once you start, that's probably released most of my stress because I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to be doing. I know that I'm going to have 100 problems. And so I might as well enjoy it. Am I perfect at it? No, my wife wants to punch me sometime. I was watching this documentary on Martin Short. And he was talking about his mom and his dad. His dad had the edge, and his mom was wonderful. I'm the one with the edge, and so my wife is wonderful. So I try to work on that all the time. I try to be a better person all the time. But when you have problems at work or those seasons that are tough, 2022 was a tough year for us. We couldn't figure anything out, and so you have those tough times, but you just have one problem at a time. You're just going to solve them. They're going to come. You might as well enjoy it and know that you have your family and your loved ones and God behind you the whole time. And so it's just a belief that you have to have, I think, to get through problems because they're not going to stop. If you think I want to get to a place where I don't have any problems, well, it's not possible. It's not possible. So you're going to have little problems, big problems. I'm working out this morning, get a call that operations, one of my favorite people in the whole world is in the hospital. Well, gotta solve the problem, keep doing anything I can do to help. What can I do? What am I thinking about? How am I gonna help people understand it, get through it? So you start, it's got a problem, you gotta deal with it. So that's what I look at.
I think it's interesting because in my much younger years, and I always, people always say, "Oh, you built this company, you've done this," and same with you, right? But they didn't see all the failures and all the misses and all the things that went wrong. And it's funny because they'll either say, "Oh man, you've been so lucky." I'm like, really? I never saw it as luck. I just didn't ever say I'm feeling lucky. So there's been those times you go through, but I've said similar things. You probably said it best there, is that every day there's a problem to solve or an obstacle you got to overcome. You just got to figure it out, right? And I've not seen any that was just so detrimental that it was the end of everything, right?
Right.
You just literally have to approach. I always have to say, hey, what's the biggest one I need to solve today? What do I really need to focus on and get solved? But when you're in the middle of making all these decisions as leaders, when you're in the process of growing the company like you have, we haven't been doing this as long as you have with our current company. We kicked off in 2017, but growth is super hard. It's actually way harder than just, hey, let's just stay where we're at, right? Things are just kind of rocking along. As you've grown, is there times where you thought, have I made a poor decision here? And also, I really want to talk about delegating, because when you have a lot of hard stuff, we sometimes forget that there's really smart people around us. We just need to give some of those small tasks to them because they can handle them probably better than I can, right? Like, okay, you're way better at this. So as you've grown, how have you forced yourself to really delegate some of those problems too?
Well, first of all, most people are smarter than I am, so it's not that hard. But when you think about people, I can't. I mean, today I don't do anything really. They do everything, and so. But it's about the people that you have around you. And I know over the years where I've had to make tough decisions on people and say, okay, they can't do it. I can't do it, so I better find somebody that can, or they're going to fire me. And so I better find somebody, because otherwise we're going to fail, which means then I'll be fired. It's really, then we'll fail. And I've had tough conversations with Rick where it's his team, and then I have to move somebody off that was his team that's now on my team that can't stand my team. And he goes, are you sure? I'm like, well, Rick, I can't get it done with them, so I have to find somebody that can do it. And so you have to make changes that are really tough. Doesn't mean that I throw them out on the street. You love them. You say, this is not going to work well. Some people handle it well. Some people didn't. There's a person that I took off my team. She's still with our company. She's been with Dr. Workman 35, 40 years. And she's wonderful. She couldn't get to where I needed her in the scaling of the company. Because again, your leadership has to grow as you grow to your leadership, your company. And if you don't grow your leadership at the speed of the growth of your company, then it can overcome you and you can fail. The company can fail because your leadership isn't there. So I concentrate on my leadership. And so if I have people that can't do it, I'm the one that has to recognize it, because I'm the one. And that's the hardest thing. If you ever ask any leader, what's the one thing that's universal with every leader? I waited too long to make a change. They've never said, oh, I make changes too fast. They never say that. No. I waited too long to make a change. I wish I would have done it earlier. And I'm in the same boat. And so it's those tough decisions. That's why I follow the 5 dysfunctions of a team with Patrick Lencioni, because he doesn't teach really leadership, but he teaches how to get a team to work together. Because if you don't work together and you don't have trust and conflict and commitment and accountability and attention to results, if you don't have those things, you're going to fail. And if you don't have a team that works hard and trusts each other, doesn't mean you have to love each other every day and kumbaya. I'm not saying that. But trust starts with getting to know each other and understand each other and being around each other. And that's hard in a remote environment. It takes longer, especially today. I mean, back in the day, it was a lot easier because I was with them every day. But now it's tougher. And so you have to have trust. You have to have conflict. And that conflict, sometimes, they're fighting with each other. And I'm like, fantastic. I love it. Because when they're fighting, they're communicating and they're working through a problem. These are not easy problems that we're solving. And so it's easy in a practice. one practice helping one practice. But when you scale to 2,000, it's different because you have different sets of problems. But you still, if we focus, that's why we focus on what can we do to help that practice. And that makes a big difference. So that makes a big, because I have not 2,000 companies, if you think about it, to a certain degree. And so it's just really making those decisions on, do you have the people that can do the things that need to happen, that are the tough things that you have, and believe in your culture, believe in your vision, mission, understand what you're trying to do, understand how we treat people. Because if they don't, they're not going to make it. I mean, I had a guy one time, he wasn't humble. He couldn't say that he's ever done anything wrong. Well, dude, everybody's done something wrong. I've done something wrong today. I'm sure of it. So to say, no, I wouldn't change anything. Well, that's you're not being humble. You're not being, and I can see my team roll their eyes. As soon as I know my team rolls their eyes on one of their teammates, done. It's not going to work. They don't trust them. They don't believe in that person. It's time to move on. And I have to watch it very carefully because, again, this is all about people. Yeah, we'll get that. I mean, AI is fantastic, but people figure out AI. People work with AI. And how do they work with AI? AI is fantastic, but without people, it's nothing. And so it's people worry about that. But yeah, there's gonna be efficiencies, but it's not a bad thing. It can be if we take away people, if we take away God from the process. Yeah, that'll be a problem.
We got some problems now. Yeah.
But it's because it's not perfect, but and people can use it for the wrong thing, but honestly, it's going to help everybody. It's going to help everything. It's going to be amazing. So,
yeah, I think I was reading some recent stats about the use of AI, the number of people that just want to speak to a person when they talk about it. You're right. I think it's going to help efficiencies tremendous, and it's going to be, but it's still going to be driven by the people that are supporting it, that are running it, that are looking at the analysis that it's putting out and making decisions based on that. You said something a minute ago about making decisions quickly, and I don't know if you follow Craig Rochelle and his leadership podcast. He's got a great monthly little leadership podcast. I'll be sure to send it to you.
Please do.
And I love some of the things he talks about, and he says, really, you have to make those decisions quickly. If you've got as Colin said, you got the wrong people in the wrong seat, it doesn't mean you got to kick them off the bus, but they may just need to go sit in a different seat. Groeschel talks a lot about it, and I'm a big believer in this, that companies don't hit ceilings, people hit ceilings. They're saying, we hit that 100 million, or we hit that 50, or we hit this 50 offices, we can't get unstuck. I really believe you got the wrong people, because the people are comfortable in a certain zone. Like, there could have been some point at Heartland when they're like, whoa, 500 offices. That's it. I'm good here. We don't need to be any bigger than this. And those people are the ones you have to move to either off the bus or to a different seat. How has that been something you've recognized? Because those are hard decisions, Pat, right? Those are really hard decisions to let go of somebody that's been there 20 years and they've done a good job up to that point, but they just can't get off of where they're at. How hard have those decisions been?
Well, those are really hard, and they're painful. But again, and you're right. It's the reason the company hits the ceiling is because the people do, no question. And so, you grow and you hit this thing and it starts to go like this and through like the sound barrier, and then you get through. Yeah. Well, that sound barrier is people not doing what they should be doing, and not leading the way that we should be leading. And we're growing so fast that how do we make sure that we do that? And that means we have to change either organizationally with people, what they do, moving seats, making sure that we have the right structure to continue to be able to grow, which is people, and it's saying people in the right seats making the right decisions so that you can grow. And so, if you think about it, if Stephanie doesn't come through this, it's a massive problem for me. And so we're going to have this, because it's going to be, what are we doing? Who's going to be in charge? How are we going to do this? Who's going to take over? And that creates a lot of noise until you can get through it. And then you can grow. If we stop growing as a company, our whole culture changes. If we stop growing, people say, oh no, you can start growing and, just be a dividend company and it'll be really easy. You kidding me? Yeah, we'll be more profitable in the short term, but I'll lose really good people who love to grow, who love solving that problem. And now I have to figure out, how do I get people who just want to maintain? And I don't want to be here. I'll be honest with you. That's not what I want to do. I want to grow, because I think it creates opportunities for people, and it creates what I think what we do is better for people. And so if I really believe in our vision and mission, then growing is the only way, because that way we can help more people. We can help more people because we're better at helping dental offices in the communities they serve, period. And so if I don't believe that, yeah, well, let's just stop growing, because we're just normal. I mean, we're just, we're just another company. That doesn't make sense in our vision and mission. And so, yeah, you have the right people, because you do hit that, and there's noise, and it's about people not being able to get to where they need to go until they slide through. And then I hit it again. I've hit so many of them, but it's about the people. And do I have the right structure? And do I have but you can feel it. And you look back, because now I'm old. You look back and go, yeah, that was, excuse my language, that was hard. I mean, that was hard. And I had to make a tough decision. And I had one guy who was just so great. He was a great dentist, great, person, but he couldn't lead it. And my team didn't trust to give him something to do. And so then I said, okay, I can't. I love you. I want you to stay in the company, but you can't be on my team because they don't trust that you're going to get things done. And it was hard, and he ended up leaving, but he's doing well, and he's great human being, trying his best, doing his own thing. But he just couldn't do it. And it doesn't mean that he's a bad person. It doesn't mean that I don't like him. It's just that it's not a match. You're not able to do it. And, Rick's been patient with me when I've made mistakes, and he's loyal. He's more loyal than I am, than when it comes to certain things. But I have to make the decisions that are tough, that are people oriented, and I have to do it with compassion, with love, and make sure that they know it's not because I don't like you. I had to let a marketing person go, and she was hurt and she was bummed out. And I gave her, continue to get leadership training from somebody that Dr. Bell, who we use a lot. And about less than a year later, she called and said, I'd love to have dinner. And so we had dinner. She goes, you made the right decision. You gave me plenty of warning. Because, people think you don't tell them. You gave me all the warnings in the world. I just didn't want to hear them. And that's gratifying for me to know that, hey, I'm trying my hardest to be the best person I can be to help people, but I have to make tough decisions. And those tough decisions have to be still with love and compassion, but I have to make decisions. And I mean, if I don't see it going in the right direction, then I have to make a change. And it's just tough. And it's hard, and it's going to hurt your family, your career, but I just have to do it. And so it's hard. But if I know I've given them every opportunity, and if I can sleep with myself to know I've done the best I can to help this person be successful, then I've done everything I can. Now, have I been perfect? No. Have I made a lot of mistakes? Yes. With people, I've hired some doozies. So. It's not a perfect science, that's for sure.
But it's interesting when you talk about the whole people issue, because it's the main reason. It's the reason you've gotten where you've gotten and been successful in the organization. And most of the time when you let these people go, they will come back to you later and say, "Wow, it really changed the course of my life. It was good. I'm now doing something better." But there's a bigger issue when you don't make those hard decisions, and man, letting people go. You've done way more than me, but I've had hundreds, and you just go, every one of them it's still hard. It's not like I can just, I bet this is easy for you. Like, no, it's harder. It gets harder and harder because you have a love and a kindness. You want to be affectionate. You want to be Christ-like. You want to do things that really tell who you are. But sometimes you just have to make those hard decisions. And they may or may not go well. But I think what we also don't realize is everybody around you knows that, like, if it's me, your whole leadership team's like, man, when's Pat going to let JW go? He is a problem. And you're like, well, I can fix him. Or, you know what, I'm going to give him a little more time. And now you've got 10 people around you going, what is he doing? And I think that's something we have to be mindful of, is everybody recognizes that there's a problem, and we have to make those decisions, or we end up hurting a bigger team too.
Well, and part of it is the hiring process. It's not just me in a vacuum. Everyone's involved.
Yeah.
So when we hire somebody, I want their opinion on who they want. And so I don't just say, well, I've hired this person and they're coming in. They got to interview them. I need their opinion. What's their leadership like? What's their commitment skills? What's their technical skills? Do they have what it takes? Get everybody's opinion. So it takes a lot longer to get to hire somebody. I mean, it's different than hiring a business assistant at the front desk of a dental office, no doubt, because this is big. And so if I make a mistake, they can ruin our company. I mean, Dr. Workman is constantly worried, and he says, he'll say, the person you hire is policy. Think about that. The person you hire is policy. So you better know what they believe, because if whatever they believe is going to be a policy. And so it's very profound. So when you hire people, what they think, how they think about business, how they think about people, how they think about leading makes a big difference, because it's going to change your company. And so he's beautifully paranoid about people trying to ruin our company. I was with a group of DSOs, and the question, this great group of people, Bob was there, Fontana and Steve Built, and there's a lot of great people there. And what makes you unique? And, we're all dental offices, and, you've seen one DSO, but what's the really unique thing? And the only thing I could come up with, we're the only ones that don't centralize billing.
Wow.
There's a reason. I believe that if you get in between the doctor and their customer, so my customer is a doctor, if I get in between that doctor and their customer, now people disagree with me. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy looked at me and goes, "You're crazy to do it." I said, "Look, my DSO is 20 days. My day sales outstanding is 20 days. We pay our doctors on collections. Who cares about collection? The doctors. If I take it, they're going to blame me for their problems with their customer. I don't want to be in between there. This is a dental office with 12 people on average that are taking care of their community. I don't want to get in between them. It's not my job. It's their job. Billing and dental, thank goodness, knock on wood, it's not that complicated. And so I have to have the systems to automate as much as I can. But there's a belief. It's a belief. So if I have somebody come in and he goes, or she goes, we're going to centralize things out, because I can't change the fundamentals of our company. But if I didn't pay attention to that, now it goes to many, many other areas that we start saying, it's just how we treat our customer. That's unique. But then what other things does that downstream effect do? A lot. Because I respect my doctors. I respect their judgment. I respect if they want to write something off. I respect all of that, rather than saying, well, I got to get approval from some clown in Effingham, Illinois or whatever. No, it's my decision. I make it. Now, if they screw up, I go down, we talk to them. Hey, you're writing too many things off. This is how it's affecting your business, because we have to still teach them about the business, the game of business. But it's unique, because I'm telling you, I'm probably 1 out of 20 DSOs that don't centralize billing. Everybody else does. And so not to show, again, I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just right for us. It's right for our culture. It's right for what we do. I don't centralize call systems. So I don't centralize it. I roll it over. So if they don't answer it, then I take it, because I don't want to answer it unless I have to, because we spend money on marketing and they don't want me to not answer. 61% of the time they answer it. That means 39% of the time they don't. That's on average. And so I have to fix that problem for them, because they go, oh no, we answer our phones. Well, let's just call them. They don't answer their phone. I can assure you. Doc Workman has a point in his office. He called somebody. He goes, oh, I answer my phone. We're really good at it. So we called. Nobody answered. They were open. So it's again, it's just a philosophy that so when I bring people in, if they look at my vision and mission and say, well, I don't agree with that, well, then you shouldn't join the company. If you don't believe in some of the things that we do, I'm open to understanding if there's better ways to do it. But what I've done is been able to automate things in the dental office to make it easier. We're now automating verification of insurance. We're automating if they don't want to answer the phone. It's a great tool to have somebody else answer it when you can't. But normally they want to talk to somebody. They want to talk to somebody they're going to walk in and see. And so it doesn't mean that we can't, and we do. We answer a lot of phone calls. We answer, but now we're answering 95 to 97% of our phone calls, not 61. Now that makes a big difference for the doctor. They like it. Now they're more productive. They're happier. They're busier. When they're busier, they're happier. And so it's that downstream effect.
I think that collection thing you mentioned is very interesting. I did not actually know that about Heartland, and of course, we work with a lot of people that do centralize and try to bring that in house or under one roof. But you're right. I mean, if Pat owes me money, I really don't want to have somebody else outside that doesn't know him and say, "Hey, I'm calling for JW. You owe him some money." It's easier if I call and say, "Hey, Pat, what? Just need to call you and follow up on this. What's going on?" It's a personal relationship. And
When they come in the office now, the person that really is saying, "Well, you owe this money, so I'm going to," oh, okay, yeah, I got it. I believe that because we're essentially we're locally branded, the patients don't want to complain about a person that they see. Yeah. But if it's branded, it's some corporation. I'll complain all I want. It's not anybody. It's not a human. It's a corporation. But the dental office is humans. I got to go in there. I got to see them. And if I go in there and I just complain randomly, I go, "Why are you complaining? Let's talk about it." And that's beautiful, because now you really have the relationship. Now, are we perfect? No. Are we? Do we have a lot of? Yes, everybody does. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we're trying to help our doctors, be better with the community that they serve. That's all we do.
One of the things I know about you is obviously you've had a lot of people that have worked under you that have gone, and now they're at other DSOs, they're in leaderships, all the way from CEOs down. And I'm not saying this because I'm sitting here on a call with you. I would say this to anybody. I've not ever heard anybody just say, just Pat's just a bad guy. He's just a bad guy. It's always, I thrived under his leadership. Man, I was with him for this time and I grew into this and I was able to do this. I know you spend a lot of time and resources on leadership. You mentioned Bell leadership, which we actually connected to because you mentioned it, and I've heard others. Ray Caruso went on about how amazing it was, and how incredible it's been to go through that. Why is it so important as leaders that we train leaders to be better leaders? If I said leaders too many times there.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important that we give them the tools to be better leaders. And that's expensive. It costs you time, it costs you money. Why has that always been so important for you?
Well, leadership, there's certainly some genetic, everybody has basic elements of human existence. We all have genetic needs and there are certain things, but when it comes right down to it, we start framing our leadership as soon as we're born because we're around people. And so people frame, what's the right word? We are being, molded by the people that we're around, whether it be our parents or whoever led us to grow are teaching us immediately. And that's just the truth. And so you say, well, leaders aren't born, they're raised. And based upon how they're raised, I believe, Dr. Bell believes, you certainly have some genetic thing, but it's very small as you grow. And so you have to continue to develop your growth to be the best human being you can be. And there are 6 basic elements of human existence that everybody wants. And that's, want success, you want to make sure you're respected, you want to be productive, you want to really be productive, you want safety, you want love, you want creativity and fun and being able to be yourself. And so all of those things, if you can be, and he's just studied leadership, and people can change. Hard, you have to work at it so much. But if everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses, everybody takes sometimes their strengths too far. And so their strength becomes a weakness rather than a strength because they get into their extremes. I'm a Rick is an entrepreneur, but he can take it too far and set too high goals and show off and do all kinds of other things that aren't good. But being an entrepreneur is great. And entrepreneur skills is amazing, but you can go too far. You can be honest. Everybody wants respect and wants to be honest, but you can take that honesty too far and you can make people feel stupid. Well, I'm just telling you the truth. You were dumb. Well, that's not nice. And so you have to put love into it. And you can't, even though being honest is the right thing to do, you can be mean and honest. And I'm just telling them like it is. Well, that doesn't make sense. You can still be honest and not be mean and not go into your extremes. And so you try to basically be all 6 of those to be the best human being. And am I there? No, I have to work at it every day. I mean, I gave myself an F the other day. I just had a bad day. And so, but I can't worry about it. I can't move. I graded myself. I didn't do well. I can be better. I can act better. And so it's just a constant process to improve yourself because people are relying on you being better and their expectations get high. And so to be a leader, you have to continue to grow. You have to continue. I have grown dramatically. I've seen people in our company grow dramatically. I mean, I'm like, my God, this person I don't even recognize them. They've grown so much. And so when they grow, guess what happens? Our company gets better. When they grow as human beings and be better, then my company gets better because they're treating people better. They're understanding people. They're listening better. Listening is one of the hardest things. And if you're self-absorbed, you don't listen. And so you have to stop being self-absorbed. Well, how do you stop being self-absorbed? People have to tell you, stop being self-absorbed. Stop it and get feedback. And that feedback is such a gift because most people don't get the gift of feedback to say, when you say that, it hurts my feelings. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Well, it does. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try not to say that. Once you start understanding people, or when you do this, it's not productive. It's wasting my time. When you're too nice, being too nice is actually mean. I need you to tell people the truth. And some people go, oh yeah, no, if you want to do that, well, don't just say that because I said that. I need you to tell me what you really think. You don't have to be mean about it. You just tell me what you think. I'll still like you, even if you tell me the truth. And so there's everybody, we all have our extremes and our weaknesses. I will never be productive, even close to as productive as Dan McLean, our Chief Operating Officer, or Mark Greenstein, our Chief Growth Officer. Never, ever, ever. But I can be better at it. I can get better. I will never be as good as they are. Not in a million years. But I can still work on being more productive. I can still work on being more organized because that's not my strength. Am I ever going to be great at it? No, never. Because they're unbelievable. So you just have to know who you are, and understanding yourself is probably the secret to life. Really knowing yourself. Knowing you means you know God, which is, think about that, because now you know why you're here, who you are, what you're doing, where you're going. So that's just my basic belief.
I love that. I mean, I mentioned Craig Groeschel, who's actually a pastor. He's got a big leadership podcast, and he says the company gets better when the leaders get better. And I think that's true as leadership scales up. And I'm like you, I'm really not that great at anything. I'm just really not that good, and people are always like, oh, you built this. I'm like, I really didn't. I mean, I found people who were good at what they do, right? Find good, our Rick, our COO. I mean, he's way better than me at running a company. I'm like, okay, you can run the company, got great people in our marketing and creative department. Yeah, you run that piece of it. And accounting, I don't want to know much about accounting. I mean, are we doing okay? Great. I don't need to be involved in the day-to-day accounting though. I'm not good at that. But, the last part of this, and I think this is where you and I have such a good common bond. They always, my wife always says I have the discernment of seeing Christ in other people, and it's evident when I first met you and you had dinner together, and we were able to talk about our faith and some of the things that you do from your company, some of the things that we do. I'm a true believer that that God is rewarding people that are being faithful to Him and how they run their organization. And I mentioned that earlier about being kind and yes, you got to make hard decisions. And no, you're not always going to be able to keep everybody, and you're going to have to let them go to go do something else. But how has your faith really shaped who you are at work? I understand how it can shape you at home and in your marriage, and uh, you know, to us that's a real important part of our personal life. But how has your relationship with Christ really in your faith shaped who you are in your business world?
Um, it's a really good question because I've been thinking about it since you gave me the question that I might. I think it's just I just know that when I'm at work, I know I always have God with me. So
Yeah.
I don't think about I don't worry as much because I have that. So it affects my work because I don't worry. I worry, everybody worries, but I don't worry so much that it's existential because existential is with God.
Yeah.
That's where I am. And so now, is it easy? Am I scared? Of course I am. I'm not. Yeah, I still get scared
People.
just like everybody
Yeah.
else, but I
Family.
don't worry because, in the end, I still have God. I still have my wife who loves me no matter what. And so,
Thank the Lord for that one. Me too.
but I have my kids will love me no matter what. I'll still have love in my life. I'll still be okay. I won't die because of this thing here. Because if I do, I know where I'm going. And so if you believe that, then you don't worry as much at work. You don't because worry can ruin your company. If you worry too much, then you can wreck your company. So you have to be positive and risk understanding. And so that allows me to be more open to things because I don't worry about life, if that makes sense. I don't worry. Yeah, I don't want to look stupid. Nobody does. I don't want to, have the company fail and look like I look like a failure. Of course I don't, but I don't worry about that. I don't worry so much that it stunts the growth of the company because I know where I'm going. I know what I believe. I know that, I love being Catholic. I love the whole process of it. And it keeps me grounded. It keeps me understanding so that when I work, I don't worry about that. I don't worry about things that I shouldn't worry about, if that makes sense. And so it's just more of I'm going to have a lot of problems and I still have God and I still have where I'm going. And so I don't talk about it this much. Honestly, this is the most I've ever talked about it really, because I know I don't have to. I don't go around going, I'm going to preach. I had a friend who will tell me, you know what I like about you? You don't carry it on your sleeve like you're holier than thou.
100%.
Because I'm not. I'm a sinner. I am far from perfect, but I know He forgives me. And so I know that. And so when you know that, because I made a lot of mistakes in that. Pretty awesome.
Well, you made me think of something when you think about it. I think it is. They don't have to see God. You don't have to tell people about Christ and you or God and how He's affecting your life. People see it. When you really live with that Holy Spirit, when you really live with Christ in you, people just see it. It's in your kindness. It's in how you treat. Do I lose my temper? Absolutely. Do I get upset about things? Sure. Do I make a ton of mistakes? My favorite one is the guy who's praying. He says, "Lord, I thank you today. Man, it's been a great day. I haven't thought an ill thing about anybody. I haven't said an unkind word about anybody. I haven't had one sin. Now, Lord, I'm about to get out of bed for the day, so I would appreciate the rest of the day going the same way." And I think when we live like that, it's kind of like, okay, well, now I'm awake, so
That's sweet.
here it comes. Here it comes. Well,
I make mistakes but you know what? Paul said it. Why do I do the things that I don't want to do? Why do I do it? And I don't know. And I still do things like why do I do that? And so because we're human but we are forgiven. And that
grace is what covers that, and that's the beauty of it, right? Which was what Paul was trying to say. I do the things I don't want to do why did I have that thought? Why did I say that
Yes.
word? Why
Oh
did I do
yeah.
that?
And so, but going around telling people that, you should do what I do and you should, it's just, it's an evangelization that I don't think is necessary. But that doesn't mean that those people that do it, God bless them. I love them. Great. I just don't want to do that. That's not who I am. I don't think that's what I went through the deacon program for being a deacon in the Catholic Church, which is a 5-year program. It's not,
Wow.
it's not you're like, oh, I'm going to deem you a deacon. You have to go through, you'll be a full-time minister. And I discerned out after 2 years because I realized I don't think God wants me to do this. There's another place that he wants me to do. And I'm not saying that, God spoke to me and I heard this voice, but through different things that I saw, I knew that wasn't for me. And I knew that he knew that it wasn't for me. And so it was a great experience. I'm a better human being because of it. I'm closer to God because of it, but I didn't finish it. And it's a hard job being a deacon in the Catholic Church. It's very hard. And because you are our full-time minister, and I just couldn't do it. But it wasn't because I didn't feel like I failed. I just knew that after really thinking about it, after really praying about it, really listening, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for my family. It wasn't. I can do things that he wants me to do in a different way. So,
well, and I think that goes back to leadership styles, right? We can't be everything for everybody. I think we have to develop our own leadership styles. You're going to operate different than Rick Workman, and I'm going to operate different than Rick Johnson in my organization. And do what?
Thank God.
Oh yeah, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I don't have to like that. Well, Pat, this has been really, really good. I mean, I love talking to you. I love when I get to talk to you about your faith because I see your eyes light up and your demeanor change, and I know it's hard. What's really fun is with our operations in Africa. When you're interviewing people, you can just say, "Hey, are you a believer?" And it's so great to be able to have those conversations, that we can't have in the U.S. when we're interviewing somebody for a job. So it is nice to talk about it. And
well, that's a big deal for us because we have all kinds of different religions we have 26,000 people. And so all I want in my company is everybody gets treated with respect and love and dignity. And I don't care what they believe. They don't have to believe what I believe. But we can treat them all with respect, dignity, and love, no matter what. And so if you don't, just because they're different, because I had an old Southern Baptist guy call me and said, "Oh, so we believe in devil worshipers." I'm like, dude, there are different people that believe different things, and they're not devil worshipers. They're just different. And so we have to love them like anybody else. And it doesn't mean that I agree with them. I don't have to agree with them personally, but as a company, we're going to treat everyone with love, respect, and dignity.
It's interesting you just said that. I'm speaking at the American Dental CPA group next week, and I just
Rick Warren meeting.
I know I shouldn't be there. Like I don't have any reason to be there. But I'm not doing anything about our company. I'm actually talking about workplace wellness, lost connection, and I really titled it called "Be Kind." And I read this quote. I wrote it down again this morning. It says, it's by Ian McLaren, a Scottish author. He says, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is going through a hard battle."
Everyone. And you don't know what it is.
And you don't know what it is. And you don't even need to know what it is, right? No. But you know what, Pat? If there's one thing we all can do every day, every single day, is just be kind.
Yeah.
And I just think that's such if you took two words.
And being kind means being honest.
Yeah.
Being kind, just don't treat people badly. And it doesn't mean that you don't have conflict, because you can be kind in conflict and say, "I disagree. It's okay. I just disagree with you," and still be nice about it. But am I perfect at it? No. But being kind isn't just being nice. And when you disagree with somebody, you can be honest, and that's nicer. It doesn't mean that you have to fight. It doesn't mean you have to argue or go around yelling at people because you disagree with them. I don't agree with that. But it is just be kind to people. So you disagree with them. I mean, I watched this thing this morning. This guy, they're just yelling at this guy. He's like, "What are you doing?" He just has a different belief than you, and so you're going to yell and scream and swear and throw things at him, and that's not kind.
We've got to be more and more polarized.
All right.
We're all taking
Thanks,
sides.
man. Appreciate it. Hope to see you soon.
Oh yeah. No, you're being kind. See, you're being kind as well.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you later.
Thank you much. It's always great.
Appreciate
It's always a pleasure to have you too.
All right. Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.